So you can see over here I am getting one error message. There is no functional port. Receiver P5 has not functional port. Can anyone tell me what is the problem? Why I am not able to send the packet? And what is missing behind? In the definition in the first chapter you have studied that 5 things is needed. One is sender who will send the packet. One is receiver who will receive the packet. There need to be some communication channel. That is the third thing that is needed. Fourth thing, the packet itself that I am holding right now. And what is missing? Can you please think and tell me? Yes? Anyone? Yes, class, I am audible. So we have a sender, we have a receiver, we have a communication channel, we have a packet. So what is missing over here? Why I am not able to communicate? One of the important thing that is missing over here. We need a switch. No. This is a very small scenario, dear. We are simply talking about when we are connecting with two devices. That's why I'm saying I'm just connecting two devices. There is no need of switch here because I have used this cross cable. So there is no need to use switch. But one of the important thing that's still missing over here is, can anyone tell me? Yes? Who said protocol? So yeah. So that is the thing that is missing over here. Please remember this thing. Without protocol, these two devices will not able to communicate with each other. Right? So can you please repeat me that what are the 5 things that is needed for two devices to get communicate with each other? That is one sender, one receiver, communication channel, and protocol. So what is protocol? Protocols are the set of rules through which these two devices will communicate with each other. Now you can see inside this computer what we have to do. We have to configure it first of all. So how we are going to configure it? We have to give the IP, and where we will give the IP? We will give the IP in the interface. So interface is nothing but where we are going to connect our computers, right? So that is our fast Ethernet. And here over in fast Ethernet, we will put the value, that IP that need to be given 32-bit address, right? I hope you understand what is IP address. This is a unique 32-bit address, and from this we have generated this subnet mask. I will tell you later in the class how we can calculate this subnet mask, right? So once we have configured this thing in both the devices, then these devices will able to communicate with each other, right? So I'm just assigning protocol. So this is the protocol which I have assigned, that is for PC4 I have given an IP of 10.0.0.1, and for PC5 I have given 10.0.0.2. Now if I want to communicate, you can see there is a successful communication. There is a successful communication over here. You can easily see, you can check in the bottom that packet from PC4 is successfully received by PC5. Yes, again we can do that. So it clearly defines that for a network to get successful communication, we need one sender, we need one receiver, we need a communication channel, we need a message that need to be delivered, and protocols. And protocols play a very important role. If they are not having same protocol, then they will not able to communicate. It's just like how I am conducting this class and I am talking in English, I am talking in Hindi, because you know both this language. So this is a kind of language for them, right? So this is the first thing that you must know. Now someone has said that there is a need of there is a need of switch. Someone has told that switch is missing, right? So switch is required only when I have to make more than one connection, right? Now you can see simply over there that this system have single interface and this system also have single interface. Now what about when there we have to deal with more devices, right? So suppose I have one more device like this. Now if I want to communicate with PC4 to PC7, what I need a channel. Now if I do that, you can see the cable cannot be connected to that port, since you can remember that this device have only one interface where we can give only one IP. So if we want more than one PC to get connected, then only we need the concept of switch. So that's why the concept of switch come in between now. To connect more devices, more than one devices, then we need a switch. So switch is nothing but it is extending the ports for our devices, right? So now the PC4 which is connected to switch, and through switch we can connect as many port this switch holds, we can able to connect this device, right? Any doubt till now? Yes class, you have any doubt?
No doubt, sir.
Right.
तो स्विच कैसे कनेक्ट करते हैं?
So I think now it is clear when we need switch, when we need cross cable, when we need straight cable. This is the particular three things that we done experimentally now. Please remember that switch is nothing but it is an extension for the ports. It does not require any kind of configuration. Switch does not require, in any case you can see configuration. Please remember this thing, right? So as I told you that this PC can now communicate, and you can see over here, you can see that now using switch, I did nothing, I simply connected the cables, and now you can see in this cables are straight cable. This is a straight cable, this is not cross cable. In the previous scenario, the device is same, so that's why we have used the concept of cross cable. But in this scenario, you can see we have connected with different device, so that's why we have used straight cable. And by default, switch does not require any kind of configuration. It does not have its much memory. So switch basically perform broadcasting, and it works in layer 2, right? Now what I told you that if I want to connect with this device also, which I have connected, it will ask there is no functional port. Why it is asked? Because I have not assigned IPs, that is protocol that we are talking before, that is not defined over there. Okay, so I'm just declaring it over here 3, and the default subnet mask is 255.0.0.0. So what we can see over here that now this device can communicate, and you can see from PC4 to PC6 the packet is now can be communicated successfully. Yeah, right class? Similarly for PC7, what we have 10.0.0.4. suppose I have allotted this IP to this PC. Now you can see any device can communicate with any device, and I have not configured switch. I have configured my devices, nodes, and I have connected it with some communication channel. In our case it is a wired, and you can see now I can, this particular PC can able to communicate more than one device. But in the previous case using cross cable, since every device have only single interface in it, we cannot able to connect more than one devices. So what is the solution for that? So switch is the solution for that, right? But please remember this thing, that switch works in a same network. For different network, switch will not work. For different network, we have router that work on network layer 3. We will talk that thing later in the class. Now coming back to our lecture that we are talking about in the previous class. Yes. Yes, student, any doubt you have, you can ask me. So in the previous lecture, we are talking about layer 2, and layer 2, yes, Deepak, you have doubt, you have raised your hand, please ask me.
Sir, about switches, sir.
I appreciate. Yes.
Sir, about
yes, Deepak?
switch is fully hardware or it contains some kind of software also?
See, switch definitely has some software, some BIOS is there, which basically works for basically covering the concept of broadcasting. For broadcasting, whatever the software is required, that software will definitely is there. But there is no configuration is required in it. For that, memory is definitely over there. But additional memory for storing packet, or you can say, that is not required, because in switch, if you remember, I have told you in your practical training classes also. See, switch share a single medium for communication. That's why, right? This particular collision domain, this is one particular collision domain, this is one particular collision domain, this is one particular collision domain. Right. So if we want to calculate collision domain in this particular, I will take a special class for this collision domain. So how we can calculate it by counting the number of active ports. So 1, 2, 3 and 4. So for this particular network, we have 4 collision domains. Right?
Sir, one more question I have.
Just see this. Yes, please ask.
Sir, how switch is different from hub?
Yes. So I have told you that there is a difference in collision domain. Switch have multiple collision domain, whereas hub have single collision domain. This is the major difference between switch and hub. Right. Now this is a scenario you can see in this simulation when a packet initially there is a devices which are connected, and what I have a packet which need to be transmitted from one node to another node. Now, if we check it, how it works, you can see the packet first transmitted to the switch. Now, switch will perform unicasting and then it will reach to the destination. So this is how it is done. Right? Please remember this thing, that initially switch perform broadcasting, and once it has that thing, one location of each node, then it will perform unicasting.
Yes, sir.
Now I'm just telling you that suppose a new node come in between. This is a new node which has entered in our network. Now this node is not known by other devices. So I have given an IP, something this, and now this node to be discovered in this or by this switch. So first of all, how it can be done? It can be done by finding the location of this particular node by doing broadcasting. So the first step that switch perform is broadcasting, and after that what it does? Unicasting. Once the location is aware, it will perform unicasting. You can see, so I have connected now and I have done no configuration in switch. Switch and hub does not require any configuration, only router required configuration, right? Please remember that hub works for layer 1, switch work for layer 2, data link layer. For this it is using MAC address. So communication is basically done in MAC address. 48-bit address, right? And in router that is working in network layer using IP address, right? So if we check the scenario, we want to send the packet from PC4 to PC9. Now you can see how this animation works. So here you can see, since this switch does not know the location, it performs broadcasting, and then for the first attempt it gets failed because it does not know the location. And there is some problem also. Here we are having this switch is not ready till now. So once this bubble get green, you can see now it able to send the packets. Now if we try it, you can see how packet get transmitted from PC4 to PC9. Yes? So they get this port when receive the packet simply rejected, and acknowledgement come back from 9. And now this MAC address of this PC get registered by this switch, which will perform unicasting. And you can see now the packet will send directly to PC9 without any delay. So initially, when the address or when the location or the MAC address and the IP address mapping is not done, till then it will perform broadcasting, and after that switch perform unicasting, and now you can see the packet get transmitted successfully. Yes? Yes, Deepak, I hope your query is solved now.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Anyone else having doubt?
तो ट्रांसमिशन जैसे तो सेंडर
Please
रिसीवर
be clear.
तो सेंडर रिसीवर
Yes. Sender and receiver what? Okay. So coming to our back to the topic, that is flow control and error control, which I am discussing in the previous class, which basically say these are the two important responsibilities of data link layer, that is to send the packet in a controlled manner. If we are not sending a packet in a controlled manner, then receiver will definitely lose the packet, and there is retransmission of packet, and because of that there will be more packet, there will be inefficiency in the network, and there will be a delay. Lots of things are there. So how we can do that? And this thing will be done at layer 2, which is known as data link layer. So these are the two most important responsibility that we are talking about, that is flow control and error control, right? So why we need it? We need to pace the speed. So what is happening is we don't have the same speed on both the sides. Sender might be having might be a server which can send packet, lots of packets simultaneously, and because of that what will happen? The receiver will get overwhelmed. That we do not want to do, right? Right, class? So why flow control is needed? This is a 2 marks question from MST point of view. So the answer for that is both sender and receiver have limited speed. They have their own capacity of communication or processing the packets, or they also have the same some limited memory. We cannot say that server have infinite memory or buffer size. Similarly, the desktop, the receiver cannot have maximum size, or you can say infinite memory. So what is happening? A fast sender should not overwhelm a slow receiver. Now that is the point. Or what in a ideal case we can say, if both have same speed, then it's okay. If both sender and receiver have the same speed, then there is no need to control the things. But it cannot be possible because every device have their own capacity, right? Their own configuration. So a fast sender definitely will overwhelm a slow receiver, which must perform a certain amount of processing, which require some processing time before passing a data on the higher like application layer. So once the packet is received by our desktop devices or receiver device, what is happening is that packet need to be encapsulate, de-encapsulate, converted into from frame to packets, and then packet is again uh, it is searched from inside that where is the data, and all these things has to be done from in each layer. As you have seen that each layer has some responsibility. So till it will receive to the application layer, it consumes some time, and that time we are talking about that amount of processing before passing the data on the higher level softwares, right? So to control this thing, and for things need to be done in parallel, we are sending multiple packet at the same time. So definitely we have added some memory, but that memory is again limited. What will happen if that memory also get filled?